When a Pareve product tastes, cooks, and behaves like dairy, halakhic questions naturally arise, yet the overall picture is far more optimistic than it first appears. Jewish law has always recognized that the sensory resemblance of one food to another can matter in certain contexts, especially when the resemblance might cause confusion or lead to inappropriate mixing of categories like meat and milk. But the halakhic system is flexible, built on centuries of precedent regarding imitation foods, and remarkably capable of accommodating new technologies that replicate taste without replicating the prohibition itself. The result is a framework where careful thinking, clear labeling, and mindful practice allow communities to enjoy culinary innovation without compromising halakhic integrity. One of the most positive elements of this conversation is the clarity that halakhic authorities have long brought to issues of imitation. Historically, even before modern plant-based milks or precision-fermented proteins existed, Halacha dealt with foods that resembled prohibited items: almond milk resembling cow's milk, goose meat resembling beef, or fish sauce resembling meat-based stock. The halakhic principle that emerged is both nuanced and generous. If the product is genuinely pareve and made from kosher ingredients, the taste alone does not make it dairy or non-kosher. A sensory resemblance is not the same as a legal identity. This principle opens a wide gateway for plant-based or fermentation-based dairy analogs, permitting their use even with meat under the right conditions. The classic almond milk precedent is particularly encouraging. In communities where almond milk was used as a dairy substitute for serving poultry and milk, like dishes on Shabbat, rabbinic authorities required only a simple form of clarification, such as placing almonds on the table. The goal was not to transform the food status, but to prevent people from misunderstanding what was being served. That guideline remains highly relevant today. As long as products are clearly labeled and those who prepare or serve them understand their true status, Halacha generally views sensory imitation as an aesthetic issue rather than a legal barrier. Taste is simply not a determining factor of kashrut. Modern imitation dairy deepens the conversation because it does more than mimic flavor. It melts like cheese, foams like milk, and browns like butter. Yet the laws of ta'am, taste transfer, were never about mimicry. They are about physical absorption. Halakhically, a pareve product cannot become dairy unless dairy physically enters it or is absorbed through equipment that has the halakhic status of dairy. This is a key point. A foam, a melt, or a stretch does not confer dairy identity. The behaving like dairy phenomenon may feel uncanny from a culinary perspective, but Halacha focuses on substance, not culinary performance. Whether the flavor profile is buttery or the emulsion behaves like cream, the product is still pareve so long as its ingredients and equipment remain properly supervised. This creates space for a positive halakhic vision in which innovative pareve foods expand kosher possibilities rather than constrain them. A pareve butter analog lets observant households enjoy richer, Shabbat cooking with meat meals without compromising halacha. A pareve cheese analog helps keep pizzas or lasagnas accessible to kosher consumers who avoid dairy for health, tradition, or communal stringencies. Precision-fermented milks that are fully pareve allow restaurants to serve coffee drinks that meet both vegan and kosher expectations. Instead of creating halakhic confusion, these foods, when properly labeled, can strengthen Jewish culinary life by providing more flexibility and accessibility. The main practical consideration that remains is marat ayin, the concern that an observer might mistakenly believe a prohibited mixture is being consumed. Yet contemporary halakhic authorities overwhelmingly note that today's consumers live in a world filled with imitation products. From non-dairy creamers to plant-based meat, the assumption that this must be the real thing is no longer strong. In many communities, the default expectation is that consumers know mock products exist, which reduces the likelihood of mistaken impressions. Clear kosher labeling provides the last piece of reassurance, making marat ayin a manageable, rather than a prohibitive, halakhic concern. Taste transfer rules themselves also become simpler with modern technology. In classical halacha, taste mattered only when absorbed into a vessel or transferred through heat. If a pareve dairy analog soup is cooked in a perfectly clean fleshig pot, it does not become dairy. Nor does the pot become dairy, because halacha does not respond to flavor impressions, but to halakhic substance. This is deeply reassuring for kosher homes and commercial kitchens exploring new ingredients. With proper supervision, a pareve dairy substitute stays pareve even when cooked, simmered, sautéed, or baked in a meat kitchen, provided no dairy residue is present. Beyond the technicalities, the broader halakhic narrative here is fundamentally optimistic. Jewish law has always allowed communities to balance tradition with changing food landscapes, finding ways to preserve core boundaries while embracing culinary creativity. The emergence of dairy-like Pareve products is no different. They invite a renewed appreciation of halacha's ability to provide clarity amid novelty, making room for foods that delight the palate while respecting the structure of kashrut. In this light, the success of Pareve dairy analogs becomes a reflection of halakhic harmony rather than tension. The law remains stable, the boundaries remain meaningful, and the community gains a rich set of tools to honor kashrut without sacrificing taste, variety, or innovation.